These are amazing images that we've never seen before.
These images convey all the different kinds of things that we are hoping to explore with this observatory.
A hacker just exposed NASA's most guarded secret, photos of something that existed before the Big Bang. Ryan Montgomery, a master hacker, cracked encrypted archives and found images that defy the laws of physics. These were not just deep space pictures, not even just ancient galaxies. They showed something from before time itself. Tune in because what Ryan found next will change history forever. The hacker who found the edge of time. In the depths of the internet, where security systems are built like fortresses, there are always cracks, places where information leaks like water through fractured stone. One man knows where to look. His name is Ryan Montgomery, a hacker who does not just crack codes for the thrill of it. He hunts for the truth. This time, what he found was not just another security flaw or a data breach. This time, he unearthed something that could rewrite everything we thought we knew about the universe. Hidden deep within encrypted archives, buried behind layers of digital defense, were images so impossible, so unreal, that they shook even the most hardened skeptics. They were not just images of distant galaxies or long-lost celestial bodies. They were images from before the universe even began. The true terror lay not in their origin, but in the message never meant for human eyes. For decades, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration has been at the forefront of space exploration, mapping the cosmos, searching for answers to questions older than humanity itself. Their discoveries have shaped modern science, providing glimpses into the past, into the origins of stars, planets, and galaxies. But what if they found something too shocking to share? What if they captured evidence that challenges the very foundation of our understanding of time and space? The idea sounds like something out of a science fiction novel, but Ryan Montgomery claims he has the proof. Ryan is not just another name on a hacker forum. He has spent years exposing weaknesses in cybersecurity, helping companies and governments fortify their systems. But his work extends beyond digital security. He has been a relentless force in uncovering online crimes, including human trafficking and exploitation. His expertise has earned him top rankings in ethical hacking circles, making him one of the most trusted figures in the field. If anyone could navigate the labyrinth of classified data and emerge with something this explosive, it is him. His discovery, according to sources close to him, was not just stumbled upon. It was the result of years of careful probing, of peeling back the layers of secrecy that shroud government archives. Somewhere in the darkest corners of the web, among encrypted messages and hidden servers, Ryan came across a set of files that immediately caught his attention. They were buried under false identifiers, disguised as routine space observations. But when he cracked the encryption, what he saw was anything but routine. The images depicted structures unlike anything ever observed in the universe. Swirling patterns of unimaginable complexity, cosmic formations that should not exist according to the laws of physics. They looked ancient, so ancient that they predated the oldest known galaxies by billions of years. Scientists have long believed that the universe began with a singular event, an explosion of energy that set everything in motion. If these images were real, they suggested something else. Something existed before the universe as we know it. The discovery immediately raised questions. How did the National Aeronautics and Space Administration obtain these images? What kind of technology could possibly capture something that predates space and time? Officially, nothing should be able to observe beyond the cosmic microwave background radiation, the faint afterglow of the Big Bang. But these images seem to defy that boundary. They suggested the presence of something beyond our understanding, something that should not be possible. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration has always been at the cutting edge of observational technology. The Hubble Space Telescope gave humanity breathtaking views of distant galaxies. The James Webb Space Telescope, launched in the year 2021, pushed those boundaries even further, peering back over 13 billion years into the past. But neither of these could account for what Ryan found. These images were not taken with known instruments. They came from something else, something classified. Ryan knew he had found something big, but why was it hidden, and who wanted it buried? Why some discoveries never see the light of day? Whispers of experimental deep space technology have existed for years. Unconfirmed reports suggest that the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, alongside other agencies, has been working on instruments capable of detecting phenomena beyond the reach of standard telescopes. Some theories propose the use of quantum-based sensors, devices that could detect fluctuations in the fabric of reality itself. If such technology exists, it could explain how these images were captured. But it also raises another question: why were they hidden? For decades, governments have classified discoveries that challenge mainstream science, ancient artifacts, anomalous signals from deep space, unexplained phenomena. Whenever something does not fit within the accepted framework, it vanishes from public records. If these images were buried, it was not because they were irrelevant, it was because they were too important. Ryan Montgomery's discovery reignites an age-old debate about the origins of the universe. The Big Bang theory has long been the dominant explanation for how everything began, but it has its gaps. Some physicists propose that the universe might be part of a never-ending cycle, expanding and contracting in an infinite loop. Others suggest that our universe is just one bubble in a vast multiverse, one of countless realities popping in and out of existence. But these ideas, while fascinating, have always lacked direct evidence. Until now, if the images Ryan uncovered are authentic, they provide a rare glimpse into something predating everything we know. Some theories speculate that before our universe there was another form of existence, one governed by laws completely foreign to us. Could these images be remnants of that reality? Could they be snapshots of a time before time, a space beyond space? The implications stretch far beyond science. If something existed before the universe, it forces a reevaluation of every major philosophical and religious framework. Did the cosmos emerge from nothing, or was it born from something greater? Theories about higher dimensions, about intelligence beyond human comprehension, suddenly gain new weight. If the National Aeronautics and Space Administration has been sitting on evidence that supports such theories, the secrecy makes sense. Information this transformative could shift global perspectives overnight. Despite the weight of these discoveries, official sources remain silent. No statements, no confirmations, just a void where answers should be. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration continues its work, unveiling new images of distant star clusters, releasing studies on black holes and cosmic expansion. But beneath the surface, there are cracks in the narrative. Scientists have already questioned some of the data coming from recent space missions, noting anomalies that do not fit expected models. Could these be linked to what Ryan found? As debates raged on Earth, the universe itself was breaking the rules in ways no one expected. The race to reinvent energy. Deep in space, researchers using the Sloan Digital Sky Survey spotted something that shouldn't even be possible. Billions of light years away, there is an enormous, perfectly shaped ring of galaxies. The sheer size of this thing is enough to break some of the fundamental rules of astrophysics. This structure, called the Big Ring, stretches over 1,300,000,000 light years across. To put that into perspective, our entire Milky Way galaxy is a mere 100,000 light years wide. That means this ring could fit our galaxy inside of it over 10,000 times with room to spare. The problem? Science says structures this big should not exist. According to the models astronomers have relied on for years, cosmic formations should max out at around 1,200,000,000 light years. The Big Ring is laughing in the face of those limits, and it is not alone. Right next to it, there is another equally impossible structure, the Giant Arc, which was discovered in 2021. The odds of these two mega-structures being so close together by chance are ridiculously low. Either the universe has some strange, unknown forces at work, or our understanding of how galaxies and matter arrange themselves in the cosmos needs a serious upgrade. While astronomers are having their minds blown, engineers in Australia are tackling one of the biggest issues on Earth: batteries. Everything from smartphones to cars relies on lithium-ion batteries, but lithium mining is a disaster for the planet. It is expensive, destructive, and the world is running out of easily accessible sources. Researchers in Australia might have cracked the code for a better, cheaper, and more environmentally friendly alternative: water batteries. Instead of using toxic chemicals, these batteries use a simple saltwater solution as their electrolyte, which makes them safer and far less expensive. Not only that, but they are rechargeable up to 700 times and do not carry the risk of catching fire, something lithium batteries are infamous for. Meanwhile, a team in China is taking another approach with calcium-based batteries. Calcium is over 2,500 times more common than lithium and is much easier to extract. These batteries have the potential to last longer and could even be woven into fabrics, creating clothing that can generate and store power. The implications are huge. Imagine charging your devices just by wearing a jacket. Elsewhere in the universe, the James Webb Space Telescope has made a discovery that defies everything we thought we knew about black holes. At the center of a galaxy called GNZ11, which formed just 400 million years after the Big Bang, there is a black hole that is far too big for its age. According to every current model, it should have taken about 1 billion years for this black hole to reach its current size. Instead, it somehow managed to get there in less than half that time. This suggests that either black holes in the early universe grew much faster than we thought, or they started out much larger to begin with. Some scientists believe that early black holes may have formed from the direct collapse of enormous gas clouds instead of from dying stars like the ones we see today. Others think this discovery might force us to rethink how time worked in the early universe. One way or another, something we thought was set in stone is now completely up for debate. Back on Earth, scientists in China have pulled off something that geneticists have been chasing for years: the successful cloning of a rhesus monkey. Cloning is nothing new. Ever since Dolly the sheep was cloned in the 1990s, researchers have managed to duplicate over 20 different species, including dogs, cats, and cows. But primates have always been tricky. Attempts to clone rhesus monkeys have been met with failure after failure, largely because the cloned embryos could not develop properly in the womb. The breakthrough came when scientists realized the problem was with the placenta. Rhesus monkey clones could not absorb nutrients properly, which meant they never survived to birth. The researchers got around this by growing the placenta separately using non-cloned cells, allowing the clone to develop normally. Out of 113 attempts, only one successful monkey, named Retro, was born. While this is a tiny success rate, it proves that cloning primates is possible. Researchers claim that genetically identical monkeys could be useful for medical testing, allowing for more controlled experiments. However, this is already raising concerns about ethics, with some fearing that this is a step closer to human cloning, something most scientists and ethicists are strongly against. Meanwhile, researchers at Washington State University are taking inspiration from nature to build the smallest insect-like robots in history. These machines are so tiny they can fit on the tip of a finger, yet they can still move at impressive speeds. The smaller of the two, called Minibug, weighs just 8 milligrams, while the slightly larger one, modeled after a water strider, weighs 55 milligrams. The secret to their movement is a material called shape memory alloy, which bends and snaps back into place when heated. By using tiny electric currents to control the heating and cooling, the robots can move their legs rapidly, allowing them to scuttle around much like real insects. The water strider model can even flap its legs over 40 times per second. The goal now is to create an ultra-small battery that can power them without needing an external energy source. If successful, these robots could be used for everything from environmental monitoring to assisting with delicate surgeries. One particularly ambitious idea is using swarms of these tiny machines for artificial pollination, replacing declining bee populations in areas where natural pollination is difficult. Strange metals and a signal that shouldn't exist. NASA sent the Perseverance rover to Mars, a big metal beast with wheels, drills, and cameras, all designed to poke around the red planet and see what is there. This was not just another boring rock-sniffing mission. This machine had one job: find out if Mars ever had life. Scientists were excited because Mars was not always the dry, dusty wasteland seen today. Billions of years ago, it had rivers, lakes, maybe even oceans. If life ever had a shot at appearing anywhere else in the solar system, this was the best place to look. And then buried beneath the rust-red dust, Perseverance found something that changed all previous studies. At first, Perseverance did what was expected: drilled into rocks, scooped up samples, sent back data. Pretty interesting, but nothing that made jaws drop. Then in the last part of the year 2023, things changed. The rover drilled into a rock that, by all accounts, looked ordinary. But what came next was far from ordinary. Inside were complex organic molecules, long chains of carbon, the substance that forms the backbone of life as it is known. Not some random methane or tiny molecules seen before. These were intricate structures, the kind that usually indicates something living made them. Scientists immediately began debating. Organic molecules can come from non-living sources, volcanic activity, chemical reactions, space dust. But these? They were found in a clay-rich deposit, the kind of material that, on Earth, preserves fossils and keeps them in near-perfect condition for millions of years. It was as if Mars had been hiding a secret, waiting for someone to come and uncover it. Then it became even stranger. The rover captured images of the rock formations in the area, and something stood out. Tiny microscopic structures that looked eerily similar to stromatolites, layered formations created by microbial life on Earth. Scientists examined the images over and over, trying to find another explanation. But the resemblance was too strong. If these formations were what they appeared to be, it meant that at some point Mars was not just wet, it was alive. This was already groundbreaking, but Perseverance was not finished. As it moved through Jezero Crater, where an ancient lake once sprawled billions of years ago, it came across something completely unexpected, a strange, iridescent sheen covering certain rocks. When the rover's instruments analyzed them, they found traces of exotic metals and isotopes that do not normally occur on Mars. These were not just rare, they suggested processes that do not happen naturally on Mars. The kind of thing expected from industrial activity, metallurgy, maybe even nuclear reactions. Then came the most significant question. Was this material made by something? Not just by some random geological quirk, but by actual technology? Scientists scrambled to figure it out. Maybe an ancient asteroid impact left behind unusual materials. Maybe it was just a bizarre geological coincidence. But another possibility became harder to ignore. Could Mars have once hosted something more than just simple microbes? Something intelligent? And then there was the signal. The Mars helicopter, Ingenuity, which had been traveling with Perseverance to scout ahead, detected something unexpected. A repeating electromagnetic signature. A structured pattern, not the random noise expected from natural sources. It was not a one-time blip either. It kept repeating. Scientists checked and rechecked to make sure it was not some glitch or interference. It was not. This was coming from somewhere on Mars. The location? A rugged, unexplored part of the Jezero Crater, too dangerous for the rover to reach easily. NASA had never focused much attention on it before, until now. Suddenly, that part of Mars was not just interesting, it was a priority. What followed was a tense debate. Should Perseverance risk the dangerous terrain to get a closer look? If the rover got stuck, that was it. Game over. But curiosity won. The mission team carefully plotted a route that could get it close enough without turning it into an expensive piece of Martian junk. As the rover approached the area, its instruments detected something strange buried in the Martian soil. Metallic objects. Not random shards, not space debris, but smooth, uniform shapes, like something deliberately made. When analyzed, they contained elements that, while rare on Mars, are commonly used in high-tech materials on Earth. Titanium, nickel, alloys that did not seem to belong there. Theories started to spread. Could this be evidence of an ancient Martian civilization? Could Mars have once been home to beings capable of shaping metals, creating technology? If so, where did they go? Were they wiped out by Mars' catastrophic climate collapse? Or, another possibility, did they leave? Another idea emerged. Maybe Mars was not the birthplace of an intelligent civilization, but instead a place visited by one. Maybe the artifacts were remnants of an extraterrestrial presence. A long-shot theory? Yes. But when finding metals and isotopes that should not exist naturally, and picking up mysterious signals, all assumptions had to be reconsidered. Meanwhile, scientists started re-examining older Mars mission data. The Viking landers in the 1970s had run experiments to detect microbial life. The results were inconclusive back then, but with these new discoveries, researchers were wondering, had something been missed? Even the so-called face on Mars and other odd surface structures, once dismissed as tricks of light, were getting a second look. Were they really just natural rock formations, or could they be something more? And then there was the mystery of Mars's missing water. Billions of years ago, it had a thick atmosphere, a magnetic field, flowing rivers. Then, suddenly in planetary terms, it was gone. Some scientists think the water went underground, locked away in ice. But if Mars once had intelligent life, could they have caused the change themselves? Did something catastrophic happen? Could those smooth metallic objects hold the answers? One thing is certain, NASA's not stopping here. The Mars Sample Return mission is set to bring back pieces of the red planet for the first time, allowing scientists to study them in detail. The European Space Agency's ExoMars rover is preparing to drill even deeper beneath the surface, where potential biological traces might be hidden. Mars had raised more questions than answers, but the search for life in history was just beginning. The rest of the solar system held its own puzzles: Venus, Jupiter, and the search for life in the clouds. NASA has been busy looking beyond just Mars, sending missions all over the solar system to figure out how these planets work, whether life might exist out there, and to solve mysteries floating in space. Mercury, the closest planet to the Sun, is a scorched rock with some surprises. The first spacecraft to visit was Mariner 10 in the early 1970s, snapping pictures of a surface that looked like the Moon. Then came a mission decades later called Messenger, which actually orbited Mercury and showed that this planet was not just a dead rock. It has a magnetic field, a past full of volcanic activity, and even some materials on its surface that should have burned away long ago. That changed everything scientists thought they knew about the smallest planet in the solar system. Venus might look like Earth's twin from a distance, but up close it is a total disaster. Temperatures are hot enough to melt metal, and its thick, toxic clouds are made of acid. NASA sent Mariner 2 in the early 1960s, becoming the first successful mission to another planet. In the late 1980s, a spacecraft called Magellan mapped the entire surface using radar, uncovering volcanoes, mountains, and vast plains. More recently, NASA planned 2 new missions, one to map Venus again, and another to drop a probe deep into its atmosphere. Scientists are trying to figure out why Venus became a furnace while Earth stayed livable. Jupiter, the biggest planet in the solar system, is a chaotic world with enormous storms and powerful magnetic fields. In the late 1980s, NASA sent a spacecraft called Galileo, which revealed that Jupiter's moon Europa has a thick shell of ice and likely a massive ocean beneath it. Another moon, Io, turned out to be covered in volcanoes that never stop erupting. More recently, the Juno spacecraft has been orbiting Jupiter, studying its deep interior, storm systems, and magnetic field. One of the most exciting upcoming missions is the Europa Clipper, set to launch soon. It will scan Europa's ice shell and investigate whether its hidden ocean might be home to life. Saturn is famous for its beautiful rings, but its moons might be even more interesting. A spacecraft called Cassini spent over a decade orbiting Saturn, uncovering incredible details about the planet, its rings, and its many moons. It carried a probe named Huygens, which landed on Titan, Saturn's largest moon, in the early 2000s. Titan turned out to have rivers and lakes, but instead of water, they are filled with liquid methane. Now NASA is preparing a mission called Dragonfly, a flying drone that will soar across Titan's surface, landing in different locations to explore its chemistry and see if it has the building blocks for life. The inner planets had revealed their chaos, but the outer solar system held even stranger worlds. Uranus, Neptune, and the icy frontiers were next. The ice giants. Uranus and Neptune, the ice giants of the solar system, remain the least explored. The only spacecraft that has ever visited them was Voyager 2, which flew by in the late 1980s. Scientists want a dedicated mission to Uranus because it has an unusual magnetic field and extreme weather patterns. Neptune, on the other hand, has a strange moon called Triton that shoots plumes of nitrogen gas into space. Some mission ideas have been proposed to send an orbiter to one of these distant planets, but nothing official has been approved yet. Pluto was once called the 9th planet before being reclassified as a dwarf planet. NASA launched the New Horizons spacecraft in the early 2000s, and it finally reached Pluto in the middle of the 2010s. The images it sent back showed a world much more complex than expected, with towering ice mountains, frozen plains, and possibly even a hidden ocean beneath its surface. After Pluto, New Horizons continued its journey into the Kuiper Belt, snapping pictures of other icy objects that have been floating at the edge of the solar system for billions of years. Beyond the solar system, NASA has been searching for planets orbiting other stars. The Kepler Space Telescope, launched in the early 2000s, discovered thousands of these exoplanets, proving that planets are incredibly common throughout the galaxy. Some are massive gas giants, while others are small and rocky like Earth. A new mission, the Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite, continues the search, focusing on planets that might be close enough for future telescopes to study in detail. Scientists are especially interested in those that orbit in the habitable zone, where conditions might be just right for liquid water and possibly even life. So with thousands of exoplanets discovered and Pluto revealing its secrets, one question remains. Should Pluto be reinstated as a planet? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and share for more space discoveries.